Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Enlightenment Podcast. Today I'm joined with three of my subscribers. We're going to talk very generally about spiritual ideas and whatever comes up. First topic I want to discuss, I actually have a question for the gentleman here that doesn't have a video. I know him personally, and he's been to the Isha Yoga Center. So if he wants to unmute his mic and just share some brief experiences that he's had in the Isha Yoga Center, how that was like, I think we're all curious to hear that.
Hello, welcome. Yes, I was in October. I was in the Isha Yoga Center with a friend of mine. We were there for 20 days, and it's a very magical place, I guess. The Dhyanalinga is out of this world. It brought a lot of insight to me, and also a lot of sensitivity. Since I've been there, I'm much more sensitive to life. The food is great. The Surya-kun is also great. It feels like a hack. Like you go in there and you come out with much more energy. The Adiyogi statue is amazing. And I noticed it on the last day, but he has like a huge mala, like so many Rudrakshas around his neck. It must be like, I don't know, 10,000 maybe. I don't know how many, but a lot. And yeah, I had the feeling I could blossom in the Isha Yoga Center very easily. Sometimes I was just walking around and I was just glowing. And yeah, also some hurtful stuff happened when I was there, but that was okay.
Thank you very much for sharing.
You're welcome.
And does anybody else here have any spiritual experiences, not only in the Isha Yoga Center, but going to some powerful mystical places, spiritual places, anything out of this world?
The mountains near where I live, and they are close, both when I'm living in Wyoming or Utah. I think just the power of getting out into wilderness is pretty cool for me, at least, and spiritual if I'm open to it. It's just I don't know what it is, but there's an openness to the energy, especially relative to being inside. When I'm indoors, I feel the kind of the closedness of the space. And when I'm outdoors in general, things open, the air's more alive, and all those things are conducive to having spiritual experiences. Trees. I have a particular thing with trees. Sometimes I'll, look at a tree and there's something about the way it holds itself. In my experience, it feels like trees are almost, if you listen to them and you pay attention to the way that they hold themselves, they can almost teach you yoga. If you kind of align yourself with that in the way that they're aligned.
Yes, I know personally firsthand that trees are a mystical place. I mean, forests are a mystical place. I remember being in New Zealand, and the forests there are so unique. It's not like the forests in the northern hemisphere. It's a combination of a tropical forest and also boreal forest some way. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been cut down and replaced with pine trees for logging. But the trees there are ancient. They look like very wise spiritual trees. Some of them are huge. You can't wrap your hands around them. Even if you tried, it would take multiple people to do that. So visiting different places, different lands will get your mind to a broader perspective. So turning over to you, Josh, other Josh, how about yourself? Have you ever been to any spiritual places?
None that I know have been purposefully consecrated for that purpose, but I can agree with Josh. There's a reservoir near me called the Quabbin Reservoir, and this has been a place of awakening for me. Um, when I was younger, I used to go there, and it was kind of just a peaceful escape to what I thought was life, but then learned that I was actually experiencing life within nature. I had it backwards, as you could probably understand. But yes, the trees were very powerful there. I remember touching one time and just feeling its energy like I had never felt before. Just I could feel each cell and it's working to its health, and even the things that were living inside the tree. Just just everything was so connected into the ground itself, and it was just it was a spiritual experience for sure. Before I really knew what spirituality was. Um, yes, the mountains as well around here are very beautiful. One of the bigger ones is Mount Washington, and I believe that's in New Hampshire. Um, so a few years back, before my accident, I was big into snowboarding, and we went up to some of the mountains around there, and Attitash and Wildcat Mountain. They are neighboring to Mount Washington. So from the top of where we ski, you can look up and see Mount Washington in its entirety, and it's just magnificent. Even standing up on top of a 4,000-foot mountain, you're just looking up at Mount Washington, like it just keeps going up above the clouds, and just the power and nature and the wind and everything up there is will just it's just something else.
Yeah, mountains of any kind are powerful, spiritual. I remember flying over Canada. I was flying over British Columbia and the Rocky Mountains, and I was looking down, and I knew, okay, this is what that looks like. It was the first time seeing that, and it looked small from the airplane, but still very large compared to everything else. And I thought I'd love to visit there one day. So mountains are a special place. Also, I remember visiting mountains in Ukraine. They're called the Karpate, and just the magnitude of it, it puts you in your place very quickly. You understand how you're an ant essentially walking on this planet, on this earth. And similarly, that happens when you look up at the stars. One of the most beautiful night skies that I ever witnessed was in Burma, way back many years ago. And my eyes had to attune and adjust to the magnitude of what that was. I looked up at the sky and I thought, this is not really anything impressive. And my friend said, no, no, you wait a few minutes. And then after a while, I looked up at the sky again, and I was, I was in awe because the night sky totally transformed. My eyes were adjusted to seeing the magnitude of what that was, and so many stars I couldn't see before I could actually see now. It was many billions of stars, and it's just amazing. That truly puts you in perspective of your cosmic size here. So I want to move on to talking about Mato Tipila, which actually one of my subscribers, Josh, here, right above me, he has a picture of Mato Tipila appropriately right behind him. You can see it's the blue night sky or blue sky and that mountain. That sits in Wyoming, in the northern part of Wyoming. The first time that I learned about this was thanks to Sadhguru. He went there and he said this is one of the most powerful places in all of North America. He's visited many places, so he can safely say that. And when I started seeing this mountain for the first time, I instantly recognized it because its power, its energy it can be felt pretty much anywhere that you are in the North American continent. At least I can. And so many insights, so many visions, so many revelations came into my mind as I actually visually saw this and understood its perspective. I started seeing that it's a spiritual phenomenon and it's guiding people. And I felt strongly that part of the reason why the United States is so successful is because of this place. If you learn to harness this energy, this power energy, you will become essentially powerful. And barely any people know about this. Hardly one or two people understand what this is, the significance of it. Of course, it was largely revered by Native Americans back in the day, and still is. And thanks to Sadhguru, at least some light has been shared or shed on this. So it's our responsibility to talk about this more and eventually, sometime soon, visit this place. So I want to turn the attention back on you, whoever wants to speak first. If you have any experiences with Mato Tipila or anything you want to share, please go ahead and do so.
I'd just like to ask if the energy there can be harnessed by somebody who is, say, unconscious. Can they unconsciously be affected by this energy?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I first understood logically what this is and started paying attention to this more, I realized that it's affecting everybody, no matter who you are, where you are in North America, and it is affecting you unconsciously. It is like, one of the best examples that I use, I like to, this is just what comes to mind, is like a nuclear explosion. If a nuclear explosion went out in the United States, you would be able to feel it consciously or subconsciously wherever you are, at least the after effects, even if you're far away. At the very least, if you're extremely far away, you would see the ash, the radioactive ash, or maybe a volcano. If a volcano erupted, that's a more appropriate example. Like the volcano also in Wyoming, I think, or Yellowstone, the Yellowstone volcano, super volcano. If that erupted, everybody in North America would feel it. That's essentially what Mato Tipila is. But it's a very subtle thing. You can't really perceive it. It's like gravity. Just now I'm talking about gravity. You can probably notice that how heavy your body is and the weight beneath your legs. So similarly with this has to be something you become more consciously aware of because it's impacting you, regardless of who you are or where you are.
Something I've noticed that I find interesting is it's the structure of it. And when Sadhguru says it's a strong throat energy, I just thought of this now. It's kind of a little bit bigger at the base and then it goes up like this, and it looks a lot like the beginning of the shoulders and then going up to your neck. That's what it looks like. And it has these lines in the rock. It's like, I don't know what that is, but my experience with feeling the throat energy is sometimes it feels stuck. Sometimes it feels like a lump in my throat, like there's something to come out. But where does it go? Where to put it? This is when a certain mudra called Kachari mudra has been useful for me, because the tongue kind of goes down and connects to this area. And when I kind of give it a little bit of a stretch and push it to the top of my tongue or top of my mouth, it feels like it is able to give that energy a place to go without speaking, without trying to put it into some very limited expression. It just lets it flow. And that the structure of that mountain, looking at the structure of it, reminds me of that kind of upward movement from this area beyond.
Mm. Yeah, the Native Americans had a story behind why the mountain looks the way it does. And it was said that three young girls were playing at the river's edge, and a bear came. And the girls ran away, and climbed on top of this rock. And the bear started sniffing to where they are, and finally the bear found them and started running towards where these girls were at the rock. And the girls started praying, please, rock, please, Mother Earth, make this rock rise and protect us from this bear. And the rock started rising. And as the rock started rising, the bear started clawing at the rock to try to get to the girls. And that's the claw marks are the edges in the stone. And it is said that the rock climbed so high that the girls went up into space and they became the Pleiades. That's the Pleiadian star constellation. So that's the metaphor, that's the story. And yes, Sadhguru also shared a story saying that it does look like a neck, absolutely. It looks like Shiva's neck. And he goes on to say how this became consecrated, how this energy is established. It's not like Shiva landed there, or he didn't consecrate this, at least that we know of. This is a natural phenomenon. There are other natural phenomenons that exude different energy in the human body, but in the throat chakra, there's barely any in the world. Well, Kailash is the only one that I know for sure is the throat chakra. That's a natural phenomenon. So yeah. I want to ask the gentleman that has his camera turned off, the person that was in the Isha Yoga Center, if you have felt the throat chakra energy while you were there in the Isha Yoga Center, or anything you can share about the throat chakra energy, specifically inside of the Isha Yoga Center. Okay, it seems like he's away from his microphone, so I will answer that question for him. The Isha Yoga Center is reverberating with all types of energy. It is like you're walking through thick air or thin air, whichever one you prefer. It's so highly energized. And not only your throat chakra, every single energy center in your body becomes active when you're in this space. But primarily, Isha Yoga Center is located right next to the Valangri mountain. It's also a natural phenomenon. In the Isha Yoga Center, this mountain called Valangri Mountain, where Shiva sat and energized this mountain for 3.5 months, also reverberating with the blue energy of the throat chakra. So if you go to this space, you'll become awakened not only in your throat center, but everywhere else. Krish, I notice you're back. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. So I've been to Isha Yoga Center. I've had many experiences there, and I also made a podcast with Alex, which is on his channel Shambho 114 or 112. And yeah, I had very mystical experiences and spiritual experience in general. Isha Yoga Center, I was there once, but I'm planning on going there next year too. But unfortunately, Guru Purnima is not in the time frame where my holidays are. So I can't be there for Guru Purnima, but last time I was there on Guru Purnima, and that was a fantastic mystical experience. And yeah, great energy.
You said that you had the ability to pour milk or water over the Dhanalinga. Can you tell us about that experience?
So yeah, there was like the stairwell, and you can buy like milk and Kailash teeth or Kailash water in front of the temple and then go inside. It's like really cheap, like 100 rupees or something, and like a copper bottle of Kailash teeth or milk, and then you go inside the temple into the Sanctum Sanctorum, and there's like the stairwell, and there's like a big line, and you go up the stairwell once you're there after this line, and on the stairwell there's like a brahmachari that's just like watching and guiding you in a way, but also he just wants you to go. Like when I poured milk over Dhanalinga, it was extremely intense. Even now when I'm remembered of this experience, it was really intense. It was really alive. It's like pure life energy. But the brahmacharis want you to be fast because there are many, many people that want that too. But yeah, that experience was definitely unbelievable. And you could also touch the analinga in a way. Like you offered milk and touched the lingam. And for me, the lingam felt like there was nothing. It felt like it was literally nothing. I don't even remember how the lingam felt. It was like there was no resistance, like nothing at all. And that was intense and very undescribable. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Does anybody else here have any experiences with the Isha Yoga Center or anything they would like to share or add?
Well, it's funny because I was also there at Purnima, and I also went inside of the Dhyana Linga, of course, and went and sit, or wanted to just sit. And then I saw, like, yeah, they were offering milk or water, I'm not sure. Anyways, I was like, yeah, I also want to do it. And then the brahmachari told me, like, yeah, sorry, you're too late. So I was like, okay. But yeah, when you were talking about the analinga, I directly felt the energy of it. I feel it always in my hands the most. They start too vibrant, or I don't know how I should explain it, but
For me, it's in the back of the spine. Also, when I was there, it felt like a really big upsurge. A little bit like on Mahashivratri, on these type of days, there's also this kind of upsurge. But in the Dhyana Linga, it was like very mechanical. It was like naturally everything went up, and also probably like a type of Kundalini awakening, or just Kundalini rising. Yeah. So for me, it's always in the back of the spine when I meditate or listen to Nada Radhana. Yeah. I still can connect very, very easy, especially now that I've been there. So yeah, it's not hard at all for me to now connect with Dhyana Linga.
Is it
So
possible to experience these energies at the Isha and the Dhyana Linga from anywhere in the world? Like, say, where I am now, is it necessary for me to actually travel there, or
I think it would be best if you go there once at least, but you can for sure feel the energies of Dhyana Linga or powerful forms like Linga Bhairavi or even Mato Tipila and of course also Kailash. You can feel them anywhere. They're not limited to time and space. Yeah. So you can, if you want to connect with Dhyana Linga, you could listen. I did it before I went there. You could try listening to Nada Aradhana. That's like the musical offering they do in a temple with drums and classical Indian instruments, and listen to that and just imagine how the space feels, just the entire energy of it. And if you want to, you can also buy the Dhyana Linga Yantra. This is also an immense tool, but of course that's not necessary if you can just connect by yourself. But it is for sure possible. Yeah, 100%.
Just want to remind you all that there's a Isha Yoga Center in the United States, in Tennessee. I wanted to visit there a few times, but it didn't work out. Kind of was steered in a different direction. Just curious if anybody has been there, any experiences with that place, or anybody that wants to go, anyone that lives near there. Anything you want to share?
I actually feel a calling to go there, not only to visit, but to actually stay there. heard that Sadhguru wants to build a yogic city there, and it's very intriguing to me. I wish I could help in any way, whether it be financial, spiritual, energy, anything I can do to help that vision. I feel like that's the path for me. That's kind of like something I wanted to ask you about, Shiva, because I'm in Massachusetts, quite far from there. I have a 10-year-old daughter now, and she is the most important thing to me right now. So I'm kind of conflicted on whether I should pursue my own spiritual growth for everyone's sake, or should I continue where I'm at now without kind of leaving her? I know that's a pretty tricky question. But, I would like to add that her mother is not spiritual at all, and she doesn't want to move. She's not interested in moving, and I probably could not convince her to. But I can't help but feel that I belong there. And also, I think that it would be greatly beneficial to my daughter as well to kind of see that side of life, and to be just around that more often. Like I prefer her to be in those types of schools, like the yogic types of schools, as opposed to the schools that are the public schools here are just awful. And I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
May I throw something in there really quick before Shiva is answering? I thought about my experience with my father, and I think it's not about the amount of time you spend with your daughter. I think it's about the moments where you are with your daughter, what you're giving her energetically and intellectually and emotionally. I think when you're in a really good spiritual state, you'll be able to create way more beautiful moments with your daughter and impacting moments with your daughter, because she's probably going to see the world around her, see all the stressed people, see all the unhappy people, and you'll be the one, her father, her star, you'll be the one being that grounding, warm light in her life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Josh, if you want to add anything.
Okay. I think I've been within my own mind trying to find the balance of having a unique place such as the Isha Yoga Center, Kailash, these, or any tool, Rudraksha. Pretty much if I hear something can help me spiritually and become my best self, I'm interested. But not always is it readily available. And also, I don't think I should be dependent upon those tools. Right? And so, but I don't think I should deny the fact that it has a unique ability to impact me, right? Any tool. But kind of what I'm thinking now is it's about having the receptivity to receive help, to receive support from whatever tools are available, and at the same time not be dependent upon it, because ultimately the tool is only, especially spiritual tools, are only meaningful if it awakens something inside of you. So it's all about triggering something that's already in you. And there are things that have the unique capacity to do that in a certain way. But ultimately, it's all It's all there. So, yeah, I think it's about knowing it within yourself that you're in the correct receptive state and with a certain flow of life, that if the opportunity comes and if you so happen to be able to do that, and if it feels right, you will, and it will be good. But if that doesn't happen, and if it doesn't work, you're not at a big loss, because ultimately it's about you being your best. You don't want to sacrifice your integrity for something that someone told you is so powerful that you need to do that. This is my thoughts.
Yes, coming back to what Josh said or asked, if he should focus on his spiritual growth or he should spend time with his daughter. Very challenging question. But whenever someone asks me this question, the answer is always spiritual growth. In fact, whatever you compare to your spiritual growth or as evolution as a human being, it pales in comparison to whatever you're putting beside it. And yeah, the most valuable thing you can do for your daughter and for all of human beings in general is to work on yourself, to master yourself, to free yourself from suffering. And that's what you absolutely must do. So, yeah, I don't know what it feels like to have a daughter or children. I'm sure it's not an easy choice, but inevitably, your daughter will thank you in the future. If you decide to make yourself a better human being, she can definitely benefit and profit off of that in the future.
What are your thoughts on actually moving down there and possibly trying to get custody of my daughter so I don't have to actually fight to make that happen?
And that would be the ideal scenario. Actually, what I wanted to say was that I would have loved to be schooled by Isha when I was back in school. I don't think they were running that school when I was in school, but that would have been fantastic. And if I have kids, definitely, that's the only place they're going to go, is you study from the great man himself. Sadhguru has also said that the Isha Yoga Center in Tennessee, you should have children be raised in this environment. He says, I'm telling you that if you do this, their life is going to be taken care of for the rest of their lives. So it sounds like a very noble quest for you to see if you can get custody over your daughter and live there. That would be the ideal scenario. I hope it works out. I guess to add one more thing to this video, or to finish this off potentially, talking about the most powerful spiritual place on earth, which is of course none other than Kailash. When I first learned about Kailash from Sadhguru, again, simultaneously also I recognized instantly, this is a very powerful place. This is the source of my life. This is what I want the source of my life to be. And I wanted to go there so desperately, so badly. When I first found this out during the pandemic or 2019, 2020, I watched almost all the videos that Sadhguru has on Kailash, and not just once, multiple times. I looked and scoured through the internet on any videos by Sadhguru and anyone else that has high quality videos on Kailash. There weren't many. But Sadhguru's videos are very high quality. And I was just consuming that energy. It was like I was hungry and I looked at videos on people cooking food and I just saw how I can satiate my hunger just by watching food. That's what this was like. And very recently, I'm very fortunate to say that I have visited Kailash, one of the most transformative experience that's ever happened in my life. Words can't describe what has happened to me, what is continuing to still happen to me, and how my body is changing, my mind is changing, my communication is changing, my ability to deal with human beings is changing. And I know this is not over because, again, this pull is coming back to Kailash. I need to go there again. Not next year, but in 2026, in July. If everything goes to plan, these plans, I'm making these plans for the first time, or these plans are making me. And if it all goes according to plan, I'll definitely take subscribers with me, 2026, July. And we will all get to experience Kailash. Hopefully I'll have a videographer with me so that he can record and document everything that we're doing. And more people need to see and understand what Kailash is. This is one of my biggest priorities and purposes in life, is to spread this message or to make people aware of this massive power. Because when Sadhguru said it, Kailash is a big force. I'm sure spiritual people know what Kailash is, but not enough and not in the right intensity. This is the most wonderful spiritual place on earth. So I'm assuming that nobody here has been to Kailash. If you have, let me know. If you haven't, what thoughts do you have of Kailash? Do you have any mystical experiences of Kailash? What can you share with me about Kailash?
So I just recently started to getting really physically in all these practices and the spiritual realm, I would say. And when I saw your channel, when I first found you, I saw your picture where you are at Kailash. And I don't know, something tingled in me. I'm probably just not that fine-tuned, so I didn't understand it completely, but I'm looking forward to 2026. And hopefully till then my sadhana is getting deeper and I will be able to feel much more and experience it better.
Little question. What's in 2026?
2026 is when I'm planning to take people to Kailash.
Oh. I'm down.
Okay. It's good. Will it go?
Anybody willing to carry me up the mountain?
Oh.
With some help. I don't know how steep it is, but
Totally kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, if that was a service, it would be quite a hefty price. It's not easy to go there just by yourself, carrying your own self. But funny enough, yes, go ahead, if anybody else has any thoughts. When I was in, it's leaving my name, it's leaving my memory. This temple in northern India, maybe someone can remind me. I made videos about it where the horses are being treated badly and
Kedarnath.
Kedarnath, yes. So from the base camp of Kedarnath all the way to the temple itself, there's many ways of going. The easiest or the hardest maybe is walking. And then it's taking a horse, and then it's sitting on someone's back and them carrying you. So it's a little chair that someone carries on their back, and then you sit on that chair, and that man just walks up the mountain with you on his back. It probably takes a full day, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how much they get paid to do it. I think it's like 10,000 rupees, which would be $100. You couldn't pay me to do that for $100. It's extremely painful, difficult. Just walking is like, wow, I was exhausted, but they carry another person. So maybe in the future, the service will be there that you can be carry to Kailash. Actually, in fact, I know that you can take a horse around Kailash. That's an option. But nothing beats walking, at least in that place. You must walk. And the last thing I'll share with you here, the last thing I want to say is that these beads that I have on me, these are for sale. They will be energized with Kailash. Whatever intention I have, this will go into the beads and you'll receive this. And this will be a tool to help you in this direction of seeing Kailash for yourself. So, only 52 available now out of 55. Some are sold, some I'm wearing. One I'll gift to my mother on her birthday. $110 you can send to my PayPal. And choose the friends or family members option, or a gift or a family member. That way you don't have to pay a fee on PayPal. Wonderful tool for your success.
Are you right now wearing one mala?
Yes, this is one, but it's very large, so it doubles. So it kind of works out that there's 108 beads here. I purposely chose to make them divided. It gives it a nice stability. Also very aesthetic. I really like it. Very red.
I'm looking forward to receiving one. Can you maybe explain for the newer people in this whole field who hasn't touched any of the mantra chants or the rituals you do to infuse these beads with the certain kind of energy? Can you maybe, is it possible to maybe roughly explain a little bit
How the energy is...
Yeah, how the process is going.
So I made a video about me receiving these boxes. I received 2 boxes from Nepal yesterday. One box is right next to this altar here. You can't see it's right behind me on the floor. And it has half of the Rudraksha beads there, approximately 25. And the other box is sitting in my storage room. So this box I took into my room very purposefully because something needs to happen with this. And yesterday I closed it up appropriately and started meditating. And what I did was, very simply, there's no way to describe this logically. It's not a logical process. But in my mind's eye, or I accessed Kailash's energies and I asked, hey Kailash, please give this some of your energy. Please do something with this. And instantly something happened. This was after I was done everything in the middle of the night, 12 midnight Shiva's time. And energy started glowing in these beads or in these malas. So enough has been done, or the minimum requirement has been made already that it can be shipped out to people. But I will still do more. And I'll make sure to package this appropriately because this type of shape won't hold the energy for very long. Well, very long, it could be a few months. If you've ever received the Sadhguru's Rudraksha bead, if you place it in an appropriate space, it can reverberate and it vibrates. It could exude energy for a very long time. And especially if you do practices with it, it can exude very powerfully. But my intention is for you to wear this, for this energy to be impacted by you or go into you, and for you to be impacted by this. And ultimately for some part of Kailash to touch you. And inevitably for you to go there one day and touch this with your physical self. Kailash.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rudraksha, just the name of it, it brings benefits. You hearing the name? In fact, in the Sanskrit or in the scriptures, in the ancient scriptures, they say that just hearing the word Rudraksha, it gives the benefits of like giving someone 10 cows, which huge prosperity. You touch this bead with your hand, maybe accidentally or someone allows you to touch this, it brings even more fruits. And wearing it, I think Shiva was the one speaking about this. He says, I can't tell you any more benefits than this. It's too far beyond words. So wearing this is beyond any benefit you can receive. I know this personally firsthand. If there was like an evacuation notice for planet Earth, hey, you have to evacuate. You bring 3 things with you. Well, I'm not going to bring my laptop or anything. I'm not going to be able to charge it wherever I am. That's useless. What I would bring is most likely solidified mercury and these beads and maybe something else. Some copper water bottle, copper container to hold my water. Probably the 3 things that I would bring, spiritually speaking. This is so powerful. It's so unique in its energy. Rudraksha is known as Shiva's teardrops. Rudra is Shiva and Aksha is tears. So Shiva cried tears of ecstasy. They fell on the ground and this tree blossomed. And the trees that grow in the Himalayas, they have fruits electric blue color. When you peel the fruit, this seed is inside.
I have a little question. I noticed like something on my Rudraksha, but I'm not really sure if it's like broken. Did you ever experience that you had like a broken Rudraksha? Is it common or?
Yeah, so, well, you definitely won't be able to see this, but the bigger the Rudraksha bead, the more ridges it has. And naturally,
Yes.
because it's a seed, some of the ridges can fall off. A little piece, tiny piece can fall off. That's unavoidable, really. We live in a physical material world. Things like this happen. You can't really escape this. But it's not enough to throw the necklace away. You keep this. Unless there's an actual crack in the actual bead itself, and you can see the inside, or a big chunk has fallen off, then it changes the energy of the bead, and you should not destroy the necklace, but remove the bead. And Sadhguru says that you should wear a minimum of 84 Rudrakshas. I agree with this. Anything below this, 64 is not enough, or 63 is not enough. So if this is 108 and 2 of them break, you can just remove it and you still have 106. That's perfectly fine. But breaking a Rudraksha bead is, you're going to have to do something really wild. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
What is the number of them? How is that significant? Is the 84 symbolizing the amount of physical realities there have been? Like, I perceive the Big Bang theory as just one of our physical. Trying to think of the word here. Sorry, but I believe there have been previous ones, not just this one, and as there will be ones after.
Yes, that's exactly correct. You're correct. That 84 represents the number of universes there have been. Sadhguru talks about this quite often, or rarely, you could say. In 2 videos, he's mentioned this, as there have been 84 creations, 84 Big Bangs. This is the 84th, we're in the 84th. So that symbolizes that. 63 is 63 is the number that have totally eradicated. They're gone into the memory. and only 21 still persist as a physical phenomenon. It's something that can be felt in the body. This imprint is there in the body. You can feel 21 as a significant number, both when you reach 21 years of age, if you do anything, 21, that's when you're in nature that supports you. So these numbers are significant: 21, 63, 84, 108. So generally you wear 108 because that's what you can work in this. That's how many energy centers you can work with this. And it's a nice number. It represents, in larger context, it's good to wear 108.
Would this benefit me personally differently that I do not have any active energy centers?
What do you mean? I'm not sure. I understand.
I'm a rare type that naturally does not have any energy centers active, though I've been working on my heart and my third eye. Naturally, I am blank in that sense.
Well, in this, talking about energy centers, no, this will definitely still benefit you, no doubt. You put this on, things will start to turn on. You'll become brighter, you'll shine brighter, become more awakened and enlightened. Okay, I think this podcast is concluded. Thank you for all the listeners. Thank you to the people that are joining. Just a reminder, every single Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will do this. Wherever you are, you can choose to join, camera or no camera, and listen in. Share with us your thoughts. We would love to hear them. And as always, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.
Namaskaram.